Everybody is ablaze right now. Everybody's wondering what is really going on with Angel Reese. Has she just flat out quit again? Has she quit on the Chicago Sky? Angel, you gotta be, hold on, you have to have some level of self-awareness here.
V1. Angel Reese is listed as day-to-day again. But if you followed her career, you know what that usually signals. Last year it ended in a season-ending wrist injury, now a vague back issue. And conveniently, the Chicago Sky have been winning more without her. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark continues breaking records, even while sidelined with a legitimate groin injury still showing up, still grinding, as the Fever push for the playoffs. So the question remains, is Reese really hurt, or is this the most predictable disappearing act in WNBA history after being exposed for quitting on her team? Has she finally been humbled? If you think this is just another PR stunt from Reese, drop a fire the baby giraffe in the comments. Let's talk.
I think Angel Reese, and I'm saying this with my chest out, I think she's quit on the Chicago Sky. She's been claiming a back injury basically since the All-Star break. And there's no details. Every day we hear that Angel Reese is day to day. And every week there's no update on what she's struggling with, what she's doing. There's nothing. There's no information about Angel Reese. I think she's quit on this season. I think this is a worse version than Kawhi.
Angel Reese is day-to-day again, and by now fans could recite the script from memory. Same vague updates. Same sudden disappearance, and once again the timing just so happens to coincide with things going south for Chicago. We've seen this movie before. Last season it was a wrist injury, allegedly a serious fracture followed by surgery that was spun as a precaution to prevent arthritis before she even hit her mid-20s. And just like that, her season was over. No rehab journey. No late season push, just gone.
Hey, look, bro, you gotta remember, she quit in Unrivaled. She just stopped playing in Unrivaled. Said she was hurt, didn't show up for the championship game, didn't even show up and watch. Last season, she claimed her wrist was messed up, didn't finish playing in none of the games. Now, this year, she's saying this season, it's her back. It looked like she's not finishing playing in none of the games. The Sky needs you. The Chicago Sky, you guys are the gum on the bottom of the shoe of the league. They need Angel Reese to play in games. Angel, where you at? Where are you at, Angel? This is nuts.
Now the sequels here, a mysterious back injury. No clear timetable. No real explanation, just another vague setback that conveniently appears during another rough stretch for the Sky. You can literally trace it on the schedule. The losses start stacking up, the pressure builds. And suddenly Angel's not in uniform. She's not even on the bench. At this point, it's almost clockwork. Another tough week, another indefinite absence.
Angel Reese! She might have tapped out, y'all. Angel Reese may have tapped out and quit on the Chicago Sky. Everybody is speculating. What is this back injury? What's going on? Hey, are you trying to pretend like you hurt because Caitlin Clark really is hurt? Wait. What's going on? What's going on?
Strangest of all, Angel couldn't even be bothered to travel to Indianapolis for a game against the Fever, a matchup hyped as one of the WNBA's biggest draws. This is the league's self-declared it girl, skipping out on the hottest rivalry of the season. But rewind just a few weeks, and there she was in Indiana for the All-Star game, all smiles front and center for the cameras, even staging a publicity stunt where she claimed she took over Caitlin Clark's trap. So apparently, the back holds up just fine when it's time to grab attention, but not when it's time to face Clark on the court, and that's a pattern more and more people are starting to notice.
She's using her back as an excuse to sit out because she doesn't really care about basketball. I think she looks over at Caitlin Clark and says, hey, Caitlin Clark is out with a legitimate injury. I proved my point before the All-Star game when I went on a 10-game run trying to justify being on the All-Star team. When that first ballot came out, when the first voting results came out about the All-Star game, and I was 13th, holy cow, Angel Reese panicked, started playing hard, tried to put up some stats to justify being on the All-Star team, did that, and now she said, hey, the Chicago Sky sucked this year, peace out.
And naturally, the speculation kicks in. Is this really about an injury, or is it about protecting the brand from another high-profile hit? Is she dodging games where her flaws might be exposed, where the numbers might dip? The conversations aren't flattering. Commentators are already suggesting she's packed it in for the season. Others aren't sugarcoating it at all. They're saying she's quit.
She knew, she identified once they lost Vandersloot, their point guard, early in the year. And once they started getting their brains beat in, hey, we're not going to win anything this year. I'm not putting these L's on my resume. I'm going to have an excuse for the Chicago Sky potentially coming in with the worst or second worst record in the WNBA. These losses will not be on my resume.
2 seasons, 2 injuries, both arriving right when the narrative around her game is at its lowest. Both conveniently erasing any chance to see if she can push through a losing streak and still contribute. When you line up the timelines, it stops looking like bad luck and starts looking like strategy and hay race, where it gets nearly impossible to defend the moment she's out of the lineup. The Sky start playing like an actual basketball team. That's when the story shifts from suspicious to downright unbelievable.
Last year with the Chicago Sky, you quit. You quit. You threw in the towel. Once you realized you no longer, you never stood a chance, to be honest, with Caitlin Clark for that Rookie of the Year. But once you realized your double streak was over, and it was over. She took over post-Olympic break. Once you realized it was done, you threw in the towel, said your wrist was hurting for the rest of the year. You threw in the towel and said your wrist was hurting for the rest of the year and didn't play again. This past the inaugural season of Unrivaled, you didn't even finish that season. You didn't even show up for the championship. No, not only did you not play, you didn't even show up to the game at all. People noticing a pattern with you. That's 2 seasons in a row.
The Sky's win-loss record doesn't match the way they market Angel Reese for someone promoted as the face of the franchise. The results tell a very different story. In fact, the team performs better without her, and it's not just a fluke or a small sample size. The stretches she's missed are when the Sky have managed to string together wins and cut down on the sloppy losses that usually drag them to the bottom of the standings. That's not a great look for a supposed cornerstone player.
Let's get it! Burn! Lack of awareness combined with a lack of ability to jump. Not great! Burn!
Me bow, me bow, me bow, me bow, me bow, me bow, me bow.
Yeah! Again! Do it for me. Me bound! Burn!
Just look at what happened when Chicago faced Indiana without Caitlin Clark. Everyone expected the Fever to be vulnerable without their star. Instead, Lexi Hull stepped up, dropped 17 points, finished with a plus 22, and Indiana cruised past the Sky. That's the same Sky team that hasn't figured out how to beat Indiana under any circumstances this season. Even with Clark out, Hull, Boston, Mitchell, Cunningham, they all found rhythm and trusted the flow of the game. No one was forcing bad shots to justify a brand.
Williams gonna have to hurry off the dribble, rolls out. Oh, open three. Oh, what a sight for Alexi Hull. She has needed that one to drop.
Alexi Hull catching fire.
Now Chicago just needs to get it a little bit more settled here in the half court. Nurse loses at Mitchell 2-on-1. It's a foot race. Mitchell to Cunningham. Cunningham right there for 2.
Team chemistry isn't complicated. You either have players who elevate everyone else or players who gum up the flow. When Reese sits, the ball moves plain and simple, and the numbers back it up. Chicago's offense doesn't stall waiting for her to post up or crash the boards out of position. Instead of forcing possessions through her, the guards actually run the sets. The wings cut with purpose, and the shots come from clean looks, not desperation heaves with the shot clock winding down.
What they do not understand is that coaches, and I know the WNBA in some regards isn't a real sports league, and I don't know if they think like real coaches and real people in sports, but the number one ability is availability. If you're not available, you have no value.
It's the classic case of addition by subtraction, and the irony is impossible to miss. Take out your supposed best player, and suddenly the team's energy spikes. Analysts have noted the extra spacing and faster pace when she's off the floor. Even the bench looks more engaged. Coaches have hinted without saying it outright that the team plays with more urgency when possessions aren't funneled through a single ego.
Hey, new strategy, team. Angel, keep doing your part. Everyone else, go rebound her misses. Burn! If she keeps missing layups at this rate, she's gonna be serving buttermilk pancakes at Denny's. Butter? Did somebody say butter? Butter pecan! Burn! At a certain point, you just got to applaud greatness. A me-bound on her back? Are you kidding? Bang! Simon says, give me another pray-up. How about it? Burn! She really hit under the basket on a layup. Get this girl GPS. Burn! Everybody get up on your feet. It's time to meet and greet the most underpaid athlete. Bang!
That's where the label of the biggest hoax in WNBA history starts to stick. A true star makes their team harder to beat, not easier. If your absence turns your team into a stronger opponent, the problem isn't the players around you, it's you. Chicago playing better basketball without Reese is becoming impossible to deny, no matter how much the PR tries to spin it. And when you put that next to what's happening in Indiana, the contrast couldn't be starker. While Reese disappears and her team scrambles to win without her, Caitlin Clark's presence transforms everything the moment she steps on the floor.
Clark appears to have a legitimate injury that everybody can trace to a moment and a time during the games where she re-aggravated. She originally injured. She had a comeback where it lasted 2 or 3 games, re-injured it. They've hinted at a time frame of late August that she may return. Nothing but a mystery surrounds Angel Reese.
While Angel Reese disappears into another round of vague injury updates, Caitlin Clark keeps showing up. Even dealing with a legitimate groin injury, she's still in the arena, still in uniform when possible, still locked in with her teammates, still spending time with the fans. This year she's averaging 5 points, nearly 9 assists a game, and leads the league in average assists per game. Numbers that would be impressive for a healthy player, let alone one playing hurt. And when she's on the court, those assists aren't padded stats. They're difference makers that swing games.
Indiana Fever destroy the Chicago Sky in Indianapolis on Saturday. Guess who wasn't there? Angel Reese. Angel Reese declined to travel to Indianapolis, and her coach came out and said something about, she's just focused on her rehab right now, and, she's day to day. We've never had an explanation on what caused the back injury, what's a time frame for her recovery. It's similar to so-and-so's back injury. This is something she struggled with here or there. All we've heard is day to day, and Angel Reese has disappeared.
The injury hasn't stopped Clark from rewriting records, and unlike some players taking extended day-to-day vacations, she still travels with Indiana. She's on the bench, encouraging her teammates, breaking down plays during timeouts, and genuinely part of the fight. Whether she's on the court or not, that's a commitment you can see, and more importantly, one her team definitely feels.